opinion. Mere opinion is a strongly held belief. It's something you say that you believe in that is not necessarily backed up by any evidence. It may be true, it may not be true. The point is, you make an assertion, you make a statement, and there's nothing to back it up. Now, that is okay with information that is common knowledge. If I tell you that it's been a relatively cool week, we had a lot of rain last week, man, how about that flooding? I don't need to cite that because that's common knowledge. We all can attest to the truth of that assertion. But if I tell you that, for example, something political that's going on, the Ford Kavanaugh hearings, and I tell you that Justice Kavanaugh made allegations that he could not support, that he's probably guilty, that's an assertion, but without further, that's nothing but opinion. That's conjecture. And I don't want to see a lot of that in our college level discussions. I want us to challenge one another. I want us to hold each other accountable. So a conclusion is the result of a process where you analyze facts, where you have evidence and you look at the evidence and you go where the evidence takes you through an analytical process. So when you respond to each other on these discussion boards, what I really want to see is conclusions backed up by some evidence, as opposed to a mere opinion, which is, this is what I think, this is what I feel, this is what I believe. Here's another thing. Those particular words, I really don't like to hear I believe or I feel, especially I feel. I feel that Grant's post was over the top. I don't care how you feel. I want you to say Grant's post was over the top, and here's why. So make a statement, make an assertion, and then back it up. AJ said that the police need more military equipment because we are an increasingly violent society. In fact, that statement I saw several of you say, we are an increasingly violent society. Should that be backed up, or does that stand as is? It should be backed up. So guess what? Guess what I did? Example 2, I'm sort of jumping around here. We live in an increasingly violent society. That's simply a sentence that I lifted out of one of your comments, or a conglomeration from some of your comments. So what I did is I Googled, are we becoming more violent? I just typed those words in my search bar. So one link, there were several links that came up in response to that. And one link says that a researcher reached out to 12 different experts and asked them the questions. And basically the bottom line is, we are more violent than we have been, but it's not as bad now as it was back in the 60s. Most of the researchers held that sort of common conclusion. So this is how we do good research, good discussion. Maybe we're more violent, but more violent than what? You see what a subjective context that is? More violent than what? Than we were last week, last year, 100 years ago. What's the trend? So when you make a statement like that, without anything else, that's just opinion. And what does Dr. Sterling think about your opinion? I don't like it. Don't care. Don't care about your opinion. I want facts, just the facts, man, like Sergeant Joe Friday said on Dragnet. Just the facts, man. And then draw from those facts a conclusion, something you can support. Everybody with me on that? Here's another example that I picked out from some of your discussions. It's the duty of police to protect the public. Is that a commonly known truth, or is that something that can be debated?
It's debatable.
So if it's debatable, we need what?
Evidence.
Evidence. We need some kind of evidence. Most people probably would agree, without really thinking about it too much, that it's the duty of police to protect the public. But you know what? Everybody doesn't agree on exactly what that means. Do you know that the Supreme Court has ruled that police do not owe a specific duty to any person to protect that person from whatever danger confronts them? There is a general duty to ensure peace and order in society, but it's a general duty that's owed to everybody, not to any person specifically. There have been 2 or 3 cases that have come about, but the one I'm thinking of is where a girl had a restraining order against her boyfriend or husband, and he violated the restraining order, and she was afraid for her life. And the police said, well, you know, it's a civil dispute. I mean, we can't come and provide 24-hour protection for you. You know, we can come by. If he's there, we'll arrest him. But if he's not there, there's really nothing we can do. Well, the girl ended up getting murdered, and her parents sued the police department for failure to protect, failing to do their duty to protect their daughter. She had a court-ordered protection order, by the way. And so the parents' thought was, and the view of many people is, I've got a court order of protection. What does that mean if the police won't come and enforce it? Well, it really doesn't mean much. It's a piece of paper, which is why we teach our daughters to shoot, because a restraining order is just a piece of paper. So the nut of this issue is that the police don't have a specific duty to people. They have a general duty to all people. So I'd expect you to back that up. So guess what? In the text it says, the bulk of patrol efforts are devoted to the maintenance of peacekeeping. That's right out of the textbook, page 208. So that is a responsibility, but it's a general responsibility. And I just quote that here as an example for how to back up, how to support what you say. Okay, moving on. That was a brief pause. That's what that was right there. While I parched